At the heart of every lightsaber in Star Wars is a crystal, the power source that gives the weapon its colorful energy blade. Jedi and Sith used a variety of crystals to produce various colors, effects, and unique abilities, some more common and others more rare. Today, we attempt to cover them all. This is every single lightsaber crystal explained. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. More on them later. First, we'll touch on the basic Kyber crystal. This is by far the most common type of lightsaber crystal used by the Jedi and Sith, found on various planets across the galaxy. As part of their Jedi training, younglings were sent to the crystal cave of the ice planet of Ilum to seek their own Kyber crystal. Its color will change within moments upon being picked up by a new wielder. That's because the crystal itself exhibited a sort of collective consciousness, verging on sentience, and would call out to a Force user through the Force. Like how in Harry Potter, the wand chooses the wizard, the Kyber crystal chooses the Jedi. Kyber crystals were inherently attuned to the light side of the Force, and resisted any effort by dark side practitioners to use them in lightsabers. A Sith or Darksider could use a Kyber crystal only by using the Force to dominate the crystal, bending it to their will. This process caused the crystal to bleed and turn a crimson red. It was also possible to heal or purify a bleeding crystal, resulting in it turning white, as seen with Ahsoka Tano's blades. Kylo Ren's lightsaber had a cracked Kyber crystal, which generated an unstable blade. The excess power was vented out the sides, thus creating a crossguard-like design. Synth crystal. A synthetic Kyber crystal, or synth crystal, as you can probably guess, was an artificial Kyber crystal. Their synthetic nature made them highly unstable and explosive. In Star Wars Legends, before the concept of bleeding was introduced, the Sith all made use of synthetic crystals. Luke Skywalker even used one in the construction of his green lightsaber because of how hard Kyber was to find during the reign of the Galactic Empire. Personally, I like the concept of bleeding a natural crystal better, but that's just personal preference. And I know it was disproved in a canon comic, but I just love the idea of Luke's green crystal being the one that once belonged to Qui-Gon Jinn, since Obi-Wan did hold on to it. But I digress. Adegan crystal. Commonly found in the Adegia system and on planets like Megiddo, Adegan crystals were said to be Force-reactive and could be infused with a small amount of a Force-sensitive's power. There were said to be 5 types of Adegan crystal: Cathracite, Relicite, Danite, Mephite, and the rarest, Pontite. Barab ingot. Found on the Outer Rim world Barab 1, Barab ingots were found in clusters in the planet's mountains and were hot to the touch. They also glowed, and, when used in a lightsaber, created a powerful, fiery blade and made the entire lightsaber slightly radioactive. Christophsis crystal. Found on the crystalline planet Christophsis, an early flashpoint of the Clone Wars, the Jedi Order held Christophsis crystals in high regard. These pure crystals formed in the crystalline forests of the planet. A lightsaber blade created by Christophsis crystals amplified kinetic energy in a unique way, which resulted in powerful impacts. Think about Black Panther's suit. Kinda like that, but on a lightsaber. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Whenever you connect to a public Wi-Fi network, you're putting your private data at risk of being stolen. This sensitive information can include your passwords, photos, and other personal data. Surfshark VPN keeps all of this information safe and away from the prying eyes of big companies or even cyber criminals. Like a Jedi carries a lightsaber on their belt at all times, Surfshark is the sort of program you always want keeping you safe. I use it every day when I'm working on my YouTube videos, including this one. I always throw it on to protect my data while I sit and work at my favorite coffee shop, knowing I'm protected. Many websites also restrict the content you can access based on your physical location in the world, but Surfshark allows you to get around this by changing your IP address to one of 100 countries. As someone who lives in Canada, a country with very strict laws and poor selection when it comes to streaming, I use it to access the much larger Netflix library in the United States. By going to surfshark.deals/red5 or scanning the QR code, you can get 3 months free on a 2-year subscription with Surfshark. There's no risk involved, as Surfshark has a 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the video description and pinned comment. Back to the video. Dantari crystal. Found on the outer rim planet of Dantooine, which once housed a prominent Jedi temple, Dantari crystals used to be extremely popular. Some Jedi found such crystals within the eggs of the cave-dwelling Kinrath, a large species of arachnoid. Dragite gem. Small, dull, and brittle crystals known as dragite gems were found in the Dulop mountain range of the world Mahali. They were one of the most brittle kyber crystals in existence and were hard to work into a lightsaber. However, when they were in a lightsaber, they emitted a loud hum and also produced a shockwave when striking a solid target. Ghost Fire Crystal. Usually found on the mountain peaks of various Outer Rim worlds, Ghost Fire Crystals were a type of rare and entirely transparent crystal that grew from rocky foundations and formed precarious and nearly invisible spires of stone. When the crystals could be located and inserted into a lightsaber, they could produce a blade that was dim and translucent compared to the iridescent blades of other sabers, making it as difficult to detect as the crystals themselves. Lightsabers with Ghost Fire crystals also generated almost no sound and produced illusionary afterimages of the blade that followed the motions of the wielder, which disguised the true position of the blade while also disorienting one's opponent. Jedha Crystal. Found on the moon of Jedha, Jedha crystals were treasured by Jedi and members of the Church of the Force. Lightsabers with Jedha crystals produced focused, potent blades. Following the destruction of Jedha City by the Death Star super laser, some Jedha crystals were recovered from its ruins. Many of the recovered crystals were cracked and damaged, and those were referred to as cracked Jedha crystals. Unlike undamaged Jedha crystals, cracked Jedha crystals used in lightsabers produced unstable, ragged blades. Kimberstone. Found on the volcanic moon of Yenis, Kimberstones produced a non-lethal blade, and as such were initially excluded from use in lightsabers. However, a few Jedi would eventually come to use the stones in their non-lethal lightsabers, likely for training purposes. Krayt Dragon Pearl. The massive Krayt Dragon was the apex predator of Tatooine. During the course of their life, Krayt Dragons would eat stones to assist in digestion. Their corrosive digestive fluid would break down and eventually dissolve the rocks, forming pearls. These pearls could vary in size from palm-sized to larger than a humanoid's head, and could be found in a Krayt Dragon's stomach should one be able to kill it. A lightsaber equipped with one of these pearls emitted a very powerful and destructive blade that gave off a howling sound when ignited. Lordian Gemstone. Created by Force-sensitive Lordians during the Khan's disorders, Lordian gemstones placed into a lightsaber allowed the wielder to predict their opponent's actions. Nishalarite Stone. Found on planets with strong magnetic fields, Nishalarite stones were dark gray or blue-black in color and produced dense blades that intensified when pointed toward the magnetic north of a planet. Seeker Crystal. When used in a lightsaber, Seeker crystals formed a pink blade and allowed the user to detect nearby beings. When ignited, a blade produced by a Seeker crystal attuned to the user in the Force and allowed them to sense danger from other beings hidden nearby, although it could not be used as a compass to find the origin of the danger. Sky Kyber. A pendant with a blue and white Sky Kyber crystal was given to Cassian Andor by Luthen Rail, who claimed it celebrates the uprising against the Rakatan invaders. It's unknown how it may be different from a standard Kyber crystal. Solari Crystal. The Solari Crystal was one of the oldest and most powerful lightsaber crystals of the Jedi Order. Solari crystals formed an extremely wide blade that was more efficient at blocking blaster bolts. These crystals made for powerful but demanding blades, for if a wielder's connection to the Force became too muddied by inner conflict, the crystal would not perform as well for them. Its owner had to always stay pure of heart for it to function. Saurian Crystal. Saurian crystals reflected light in a way that looked similar to fire. When used as a lightsaber crystal, Saurian crystals produced a blade that would release a surge of power each time it came into contact with something. Tainted Night Sister Crystal. A Tainted Night Sister Crystal was created by the Night Sisters to use in weaponry similar to that of lightsabers. The crystal was created if soaked in Dathomir's magical ichor, which prevented the crystal's connection to the Force. A blade created using the crystal emitted a putrid, choking green smoke. Thonton Crystal. A type of Kyber crystal rarely utilized at the core of a lightsaber, Thonton crystals were important due to their unique properties as healing aids, and were capable of assisting a Jedi healer in easing the pain of a patient, and therefore made their treatment easier. Varpaline Crystal. Found on the Outer Rim world Marilus II, Varpaline crystals were extremely hard and dense, and therefore could be used in industrial machinery for cutting. Blades produced by Varpaline crystals produced a sharp sound when they came into contact with objects, and could cut through some of the thickest or toughest objects even more easily than other blades. Zophis Crystal. Before the Jedi traveled to Ilum during the Gathering to retrieve their crystals, they went to the world Zoph. However, as Ilum and its crystals became more prominent, Zophis crystals became more rare. It didn't help that the planet also fell to the Separatists during the Clone Wars. Jedi who used Zophis crystals discovered that the produced blade had devastating and unstable properties. Ankari's Sapphire. A gemstone known for its blue hue, the Ankari's crystal possessed legendary healing powers and numerous other effects. Jedi Master Elzar Mann was familiar with them and may have used one himself. Lava Crystal. A lava crystal was a lightsaber crystal that could only be found on volcanic planets and moons such as the hellish world Mustafar. The crystal generated a blade that resembled, you guessed it, lava. It was less focused and concentrated than normal Kyber crystals, therefore lava itself was generated from the extreme heat of the dense, heavy blade, creating bits of flame and lava that often splashed and dripped out from the blade itself. But that about does it for every lightsaber crystal, at least the ones recognized in canon. Some of the Legends ones get pretty out there, but maybe that'll be a future video topic. Once again, thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click their link in the description. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server, linked in the description. If you enjoyed today's Star Wars video, we've got more on the screen for you right now. Also make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5, standing by.